Hello, my powerful audience. This is Julius from The Peak of the Geek, and welcome to Hey, how was that movie series? I was tired of calling this a review channel without any reviews, and the two reviews that I am working on are in development limbo. And I didn't want to leave you guys review list, so I decided to make this series to carry over. I hope you enjoy. So I've seen the It movie, and before we get more into it, let me just be clear. I mostly do game reviews. I don't usually watch horror films. They're not my forte. The only ones that I've seen in the theater are The Bye-Bye Man, this movie, the It movie, and the Emoji Movie. So don't take my opinion too seriously. But if I had to give it a 2-letter synopsis, just like the title, it would be eh. Let's get into the positives for starters. Okay, so the positives of this movie: neat characters, good actors and actresses. There were 3 creepy moments. Nice cinematography, sounds, and the practical effects were actually good, and it was funny. Unintentionally and sometimes intentionally, but yeah. Okay, well, what was wrong with the movie? Everything else. Okay, for starters, you have too many characters, plot was underdeveloped, inconsistent tone, jump scary, and over the top, bad CGI, cringy moments, Pennywise wasn't that great of an antagonist, not that scary, bad sets, and funny unintentionally. That's the best I can do without going into spoilers, so if you plan on going to see it, then stop watching. However, it has some good moments, but it was mostly bad. So don't expect much and you'll enjoy the film. However, if you're on the fence, don't give Warner Brothers your money, please. Don't. Now that that is out of the way, let's talk about the story and plot. The story I thought was fine for what it was trying to accomplish, trying to streamline that 1100-page book of shoddy ideas. For the most part, it did pretty well. The problem was in the execution. One of my biggest complaints is the tone itself. The tone is inconsistent. One moment the movie wants to be spooky scary, the other moment is trying to be a comedy. Sure, you can have a horror movie with some jokes, however the best way I can explain it is while Shaun of the Dead is making jokes when your friend falls out of a chair accidentally, it is making jokes while your grandmother is dying of cancer in the hospital. It has to choose between a horror movie with some dark jokes or light comedy with some horror elements. It can't be a horror light comedy mixture. It just won't work. Well, I mean, this is the same director who made Mama, and I hated that movie, and that movie suffers from a lot of tonal problems too. Another problem is that not enough characters have enough to do in this movie. Like the black kid was introduced in the first part of the film, has like 2 scenes, and doesn't show back up into the film until an hour later. Instead of 7 characters, it should have been streamlined to like 4. Bill, Ben, Beverly, and Black Guy. Okay, maybe Henry. Let's also talk about the big elephant in the room. This movie isn't scary. There is like 3 legitimately creepy things. The book, the slideshow, Bev's haircut. However, each of them are accompanied with the scare cord, and it's annoying. There are so many times where there is a creepy scene and it won't let it be creepy. Let's also talk about it. I really don't like this interpretation. Say what you want about the original miniseries, but I think the clown in the miniseries was a lot better than the clown in this movie. For one, it's a lot more subtle. Now tell me, which clown would a kid most likely interact with? You guess it. It's me. Jokes aside, the new version, first off, looks like a clown that you would see in Whoville. Like, I just can't get over that hairline. I'm more afraid of a hairline than CGI jump scares. Also, this is trying to be too upfront with being scary. When in the original, he was supposed to look like a normal clown. When Pennywise isn't talking, turning into a bad CGI effect, or having a seizure while fast forwarding, he looks unsettling. Cool. Okay. Also, the actor who portrayed him, I don't know if he was intentionally supposed to be funny. I know he's supposed to be scary, but I laughed at his actions more than I was scared. The best part of the movie is towards the end where he dances in front of Bev. It was the best. I can't wait to get my hands on that scene. I'm gonna make that into a meme. I mean, it's already been composed in a meme, but you know, I gotta keep this train going. Another thing I didn't like, which I mentioned, was the effects. I am certain that house in the movie is not real. In fact, it looks like the house from the Monster House movie. It was imposed in there in After Effects. I'm sure of it. Also, the CGI effects and blood really stood out because it was bad. The thing is, though, that the practical effects were great. One example is at the end of the movie. The loser gang finds Bev floating in the air. By the way, Pennywise's victims actually float. But the rest of the children are in CGI, and Bev effects look way better. Like, why would you use bad CGI? I don't want you to use claymation, but come on. But the biggest complaint with the movie by far is the movie lacks subtlety. I wasn't playing around with the scare cord. It is everywhere. I have a message for everyone who is in the horror movie making genre. Scare cords and jump scares are not scary. They are startling, sure, but there is no lasting effect. The lasting effect is my overall patience sinking like a rock in a river. Like I said, there are some good moments. The book zooming in on the kids, the headless children, Bev's dad. I mean, there are some great moments, I'm not gonna lie. There is one moment, too, about the digital projector. It was a great scene. However, they had to ruin it by making Pennywise jump out of the screen and start morphing his body that would make Voltron blink. That's what the movie lacks, subtlety. It needs more. I mean, look at The Shining. The storytelling is phenomenal, and it uses very, very little plot details to actually set the tone and move the story forward. Also, I feel like the movie thinks I'm dumb. During the scene in Ben's room, one of the photographs literally zooms in on Pennywise, but before it zoomed, we could clearly see that Pennywise was there. Like, I have eyes. You don't have to show me every detail. Just... Look, at the end of the day, the movie was better than I expected, but that's not saying much. Everyone is saying that this is a good adaptation of the book, but I didn't like the source material, because the source material has big problems too. It's just a mess of ideas cobbled together with little to no narrative coherence. Everyone is fanning about this movie, but in 10 years, no one's going to remember this. Look at Paranormal Activity, a movie that broke new ground supposedly, now it's forgotten. I just want Hollywood to make good movies. So instead of watching it, go watch other movies instead. Here's a list. That's my review of It, 2017. I hope you enjoyed this new segment I'm experimenting with. If you want me to do an in-depth review of It when it comes out on DVD, let me know. This is Julius reminding you to stay powerful and game forth. Geek out!